Hi everyone, Brian Walker here from Peak Automotive. With gas prices at all-time record highs, I wanted to come to you today with this video and tell you 5 ways, or well, the 5 most common things that we see for a car that is using excessive fuel. So the number one thing that we see is one of the simplest, and that is underinflated tires. So many people are driving around with their tires underinflated, and that is causing your car to use excessive fuel. If you think about it, you think about rolling a bowling ball versus rolling a sandbag. Which one is harder to roll? Well, the sandbag obviously is harder to roll because that bowling ball is rock hard. It just rolls easily. You want your tires to be as hard as they can be within reason because they're going to roll down the road easier. You're going to get better fuel mileage because of that. So you want to make sure that your tires are inflated properly. You can look on the sidewall of the tire and see what the tires should be inflated to. But you know, most cars are going to be somewhere around 35 pounds per square inch. Trucks are going to get higher than that. But most of the time when we're doing an oil change on somebody's car, we'll find their tires down at like 25 PSI, and that's going to use a lot of excessive fuel. The number 2 thing that we see that causes excessive fuel usage is a dirty air filter. Now, the air filter for your engine is much like the filter that's in your house for your air conditioning system. It cleans that air before it goes through the air conditioning system. Well, the air filter cleans the air before it goes through your engine. Well, when that air filter gets dirty, it's harder for it to pull that air into the engine, and you have to have a precise amount of air combined with a precise amount of fuel, and if it can't get that air in, it uses too much fuel, and that will cause your car to use excessive fuel. The number 3 thing we see is the car being out of alignment. In other words, the wheels are not perfectly straight. You know, they might be towed in, they might have excessive camber where they're tilted out at the top. And if you think about when you're going through the grocery store, you're pushing your shopping cart, you know, if one of those wheels is bent, it's harder to push. Same principle with your car. And it's not something that you can visually see. We have to put it on an alignment machine to actually see whether it's in alignment or not. But when those tires are not perfectly straight, it's harder for the vehicle, you know, for the engine to push that car down the road, and that makes it use excessive fuel mileage. All right, the number 4 thing that we see is dirty injectors. Now, the injector is the part of the engine. It's an electric piece that allows it squirts the fuel into the engine. It has to put that fuel into the engine at a very fine mist. And because that injector it protrudes down into the engine, it gets very hot. So over time, that little bit of gasoline that's left on the injector when you shut it off, it crystallizes. You know, it basically bakes inside of the engine, and it makes the injector where it doesn't make that nice, clean spray pattern that we're looking for, and it'll make your engine start running rough. Now, you won't necessarily notice this. It's kind of like the frog in the pot of boiling water, you know, because it just happens a little bit at a time, and over time your engine just won't run as good as it did before. And when this happens, the car is not going to get the fuel mileage that it should. And then the number 5 most common thing we see that causes your car to use excessive fuel is the spark plugs being worn out. And you know, cars today, a lot of the cars today, the interval where we change the spark plugs is at 100,000 miles. So it's something that people don't even think about anymore. And we see cars all the time that come in with 120,000, 150,000 miles, and the spark plugs have never been replaced. And that engine is just not running as good as it should be because those spark plugs are worn out. So if you bring your car by Peak Automotive, we will check that out for you. We'll check all of these things for you and let you know if any of these things need to be addressed. We got a special, you know, fuel mileage special going on right now, $79.95. You bring it in, we, you know, look at all of this for you, let you know if any of these things need to be replaced. And we know, you know, when there's pain at the pump, you don't necessarily want to spend money on your car, but if these things need to be done to your car, they need to be done no matter what fuel prices are. And if you go ahead and do them now, it can actually help you with your fuel mileage and ease that pain on your wallet. So come on by today, let us take a look at it, and we'll make sure that your car is running as good as it possibly can, getting the best fuel mileage that it can. Thanks.